time to embrace your zodiac body. We are going to embrace your zodiac body today. That's what we're here for. Now we'll start low and slow, get into a flow. For those of you who don't know that much about the zodiac, this is not going to be that complicated. We're going to really embody it, make it physical. When we think of the zodiac, we think of the stars in the sky, right? They make up certain constellations, as above, so below, as within, so without. I believe, personally, this is up to you whether you believe this, that before we incarnated, every star in the sky was in the perfect position for how we wanted to be in this life, that we got to plan our life, we got to plan the different timelines we would have in our life, the people that would come into our life, we got to plan every part about how our body would look, about our abilities, our skill sets, just your personality in general, what you're good at, what you might need help with that helps you connect with other people. You get to plan all of these things. And so every star in the sky was perfectly aligned on the exact day, hour, and moment that you were born. You aligned that, which means that your zodiac isn't something that controls you from the outside, but it's something that you set in place as a magnetizing force to help bring out and express the things that you wanted to bring out and express in this life with your personality, your gifts, your skill sets, I keep wanting to come to weaknesses because that's the natural opposite of skill set, but these aren't weaknesses. You set these things up also as places that you could learn how to depend on others and enter into relationship with others. And so coming from that point of view, where it's an internal choice that's reflected in the heavens, where the very heavens reflect you and your personality and all the different many layers within it, even down to how you look, because it's very layered. The zodiac isn't just your sun sign, which is the sign most people are probably used to. If someone asked me my sign, I would probably respond with my sun sign, because if you're born in August, most often you're a Leo. And so you'd say my sign is a Leo. That is your sun sign. But there are moon signs and rising stars and planets, all of the planets out there. And each one tells a little bit about your particular personality depending on where they were at the moment of your birth. So what we're going to do today, we're going to make it very, very simple. We're going to go through all of the zodiac to give you your sun sign, which you probably already know, and the body part that relates to that sign. We're doing this for a reason. Here in healing spaces, we already know that certain body parts represent certain actions or certain healings, certain personality traits even, that certain chakras represent certain healings and certain actions. And so now we want to deepen that with your personal zodiac so that you understand what part of the body you lead with. And this gives a little bit of secretive intel into maybe what you deal with on a regular basis or how you act. Maybe even a little bit about your life lessons and what you're here to embrace and embody. Now, if you want to deepen this for yourself, we have modalities, guys. If you already know your sun sign and you're like, yeah, I'm fluent in zodiac, look up your moon sign. When you look up your moon sign, you do have to have your place of birth and your birth time. You can do that on an app. I personally use AstroTheme, ASTROTHEME, AstroTheme. If you have your time of birth and your birthplace and you want to pause this video and go look it up on one of those apps, you can. Otherwise, you might already know it, or you just want to flow with me using your sun sign. Either way, we're cool. If you want to double deepen this, you can look up your rising star. because that will show you a little something too. But you don't have to do that, because just through your sun sign and your moon sign, with what we're going to do, you're going to end up with your rising sign already, because it's just going to tell you a lot about your personality. So let's start. I've got all the dates written down so that I don't goof them up, because I can't remember everything by heart. Now, technically, the zodiac, according to the body parts, is going to start in Aries and end in Pisces. But since I haven't shared that information with you yet as to what those body parts represent, let's just go by calendar year. So we'll start in December, January. So if your birthday is between December 22nd and January 19th, you are a Capricorn. Congratulations. Congratulations. And your body part is the bone. Bones, knees, joints, teeth, these all represent the Capricorn. And that makes sense for the daddy of the zodiac, right? Because that means that probably your life lesson, how you move through life, what you've been building for yourself throughout your life, has been structure, endurance, and discipline. The Capricorn is known for their discipline. Now remember, we're relating this to your sun sign. So this might be something that you are actively working on and have been working on throughout your life. It might be something that you naturally do and that other people admire about you. Because it's your sun sign, it's something known. It's something already shining, right? Now we're going to move on to January 20th through February 18th. If your birthday falls between January 20th and February 18th, you are an Aquarius sun. The Aquarius is represented by the ankles. You can also look at calves and the circulatory system. And when we look at these particular body parts, the ankles, come on, the Aquarius is the cankle of the zodiac. Look, the Aquarius is an odd bird. All of you Aquarius out there, you're like aliens. You're just aliens. And that's okay. We love that about you. Now on the positive side of all of this, you're the humanitarian. And that body part, the ankle, the calves, and the circulatory system, that's actually very important. It's important to know. You are the innovator, the network, the collective energy. And that's what makes you so alien. Because you are not just here doing normal things and figuring out structures. You're here to innovate, to bring change, to talk about something new. And you also represent these networks that run between everything, connecting this to this and this to this, and the collective energies. You're not just an individual, but you are a collection of everyone who fills your cup. For some of you, since this is your sun sign, you've had to really work on how you innovate. You've had to really work on singling yourself out because you're so used to holding collective or networking spaces. For some of you, this has really been something big that's helped you expand your career and your life purpose. Networking, you might have turned that into your career. And you network in a beautiful way, bringing beautiful things together. If your birthday is February 19th through March 20th, February 19th through March 20th, you might be a Pisces. I think I might have spoke too soon when I said that the Aquarius was the alien. I'm going to hold to that. But Pisces, you're number 2 on the odd duck list, okay? The Pisces, you are represented by the feet, mainly, as well as the lymphatic system, and you are the only one who, of the physical parts of the body, represent subconscious sensitivity. Every other sign has multiple parts of the physical body that it represents. The Pisces is the only one who represents the subconscious, the sensitivity beneath the surface. So Regardless of what your moon sign is, if your sun sign is a Pisces, you sensitive. You're picking up subconscious energy. You're picking up things beneath the surface that other people might not see or sense. And so that's something you've probably had to deal with a good bit, is validating yourself, understanding that you do sense and feel what you sense and feel, and that you're valid to feel how you feel. You know, people call Cancers the crybaby of the zodiac, but the reality is, Pisces, you got that sensitivity. This is all you, babes. But what you've been working on with the feet and the lymphatic system, you've been working on your intuition, your spirituality, your energetic life, and you've been working on surrender. Because when you switch into your intuitive nature and your energetic nature, none of these things are tangible or physical. These are things that you have to surrender your ego self in order to access. And again, Pisces might do this naturally, and other people might admire this about them. Pisces tend to be very creative because they can get into flow states easily. They live in a flow state. Or maybe this is something that you've really leaned into to understand about yourself, to understand how you are so intuitive, to really validate that in yourself. If your birthday is March 21st through April 19th, you might be an Aries. Oh, Aries. Oh, fire energies. You are represented by the head, the brain, and the face. And before you get a big head about that, the head represents identity. It represents initiation and action. Aries, we always like to call them the boss. They're the boss of the zodiac. They make sure that they're in charge, right? The body part that represents that is the face. But here's why it doesn't just mean the boss. As the head of anything, that just means there is a hierarchy. So you might be a leader, you might be in charge, but think about the face and the face forward. When you think about your face, this is what people think is your identity. They look at you according to what they see in your face. This is where you're expressing from. This is what you look like. Your brain lives inside of this space, and so people think this is you. Aries, I bet you have been dealing with some identity issues since you were born, because it's face forward. Whatever you put out there is what people pick up. Leadership, that's a big one of your qualities. That's something that you can apply easily and without effort, or something that you've been really working towards. And understanding how your mind works, how your identity is separate than what people see in you, but how you move through the world, how your actions can mean more than just how you look. I have never met a sloppy Aries. Never. Your identity is more than how you look. If you are born between April 20th and May 20th, you are a Taurus. The Taurus is represented by the neck, by the throat, the jaw, and the vocal cords. And what I love about Taurus is that you can actually pick out a Taurus just by how their physical body looks. They tend to have more of a square jaw, usually, not always, because your rising sign has a lot to do with your physical body, but they tend to have a square jaw. Something about this part of the body stands out in a Taurus. It's almost like a set jaw, and you know that's a stubborn person right there. But when they're dealing with this part of the body, the throat, the neck, the jaw, the vocal cords, this is your area of voice, expression, and stability, meaning that you've probably been working on letting your internal environment come into your external environment since you were born, working on that stability, creating stability, knowing that stability is very important to you. There's a lot here that has to do with consistency and safety that's important for a Taurus. And other people admire that in you. It might drives some people nuts, especially if they're more like the Pisces, more into that flow naturally, but they balance each other beautifully. Your stability, your consistency, your expression, this is how you work in your mind. If you are born between May 21st and June 20th, you are a Gemini. The Gemini sun is represented by the arms. They're also represented by hands, lungs, and the nervous system. This is such an important distinction with Gemini. Gemini hands, I love Gemini hands. They just have these fingers. Lesbians know what I mean. But the arms, if you think about the whole arms, this has a lot to do with movement, right? And then you have the lungs here, which is all in the heart space. And that's breath, that's prana, that's life force. And so this is your communication. Gemini is an air sign as well, so there's a lot there around thought. But then you bring the nervous system in. How long have we been trying to regulate our nervous system, boo? Because if you know a Gemini, there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of movement, and do we have a regulated nervous system? Can we be calm? Can we be set? Can we feel safe? Can we feel balanced inside of ourselves? This is something Gemini really works on. And if you find a Gemini with that beautifully balanced nervous system, everyone's going to want a piece of you. Everyone's going to be jealous of that Gemini. But we are not jealous here. We love everybody, and everybody has their own unique gifts. But this is a beautiful combination in Gemini of heart, safety, and communication and expressiveness. What's coming into me right now is that Geminis are probably really good, not just at thinking outside of the box and hyping people up, but they're really good at being the go-between. I think they're a moderator. That's the word I'm looking for. They can bring information from one person to another and express it in a way that everyone can understand and realize, that everyone can feel safe within their communication. If you were born between June 21st and July 22nd, you are a Cancer. And Cancer is represented by the chest, the stomach, and the womb space. I like to just say Cancer is represented by the womb space, which is where I want to discredit that Cancer is the crybaby of the zodiac. Cancer is the mommy of the zodiac. If you are fully represented in your sun sign, and your sun sign again is your central life force, this is your self-expression, this is your identity, this is your personality, this is how your soul animates, is through your sun sign. And if your sun sign is represented by the womb, you are creating, you are manifesting, you are nurturing, you are holding space, whether you are male or female. You are holding space for your community and for your loved ones, for your friends, and for your family. Cancer, this is emotion. This is nurture, because Cancer is a water sign. But this is also protection. When you think of a mommy, anything, a mommy human, a mommy dog, a mommy cat, a mama bear, a mama lion, we naturally think of that protective energy. We don't think of protective energy with the daddy of the zodiac, with Capricorn. That's all structure and endurance and that constant go strength, right? It's the Cancer. She is the protective force. Think about that rose with those thorns all over it. She will make you bleed if you try to pick her, right? The mommy of the zodiac, she nurtures, she has emotion that flows into depths, a deeper emotion than just a surface or water emotion. This is a fixed emotion, something that brings you into how you truly are on the inside. There's lots of emotion that passes through, okay? When we have certain thoughts, or we see or witness certain things, there's always emotion on the surface. Someone cutting you off in traffic can trigger an emotion momentarily. But when we think of Cancer type of emotion, we're thinking of something deeper, the emotion that bubbles beneath the surface, the emotion that's there because of inner reflection. And that inner reflection could be due to deeper beliefs, subconscious beliefs, past experiences, past life experiences. When we think of Cancer, think of depth, deep things, the mom, the womb space. If your birthday is July 23rd to August 22nd, you are a Leo. Welcome to the Lioness Club. You are represented by the heart space, the spine, and the upper back. Most often it's thought just the heart space. When you think of Leo, think of heart, that wide open heart, the courageous heart, anything that is heart. Think of heart statements, take heart. Give your heart away. Everything for a Leo is about that heart. But then don't forget, they got spine too. So this is a lot of bravery. If you're a Leo, you've probably worked a lot in your life on vitality, courage, and self-expression. You are courageous in your heart. You love openly. These make great healers because healers have to heal from the heart space. But then there's that self-expression piece, that piece that says, my energy has to flow up my spine and come out through my heart. I have to be big. I have to take up space. I have to show who I am. I have to express myself. And a Leo sun, this means that this is something you might do naturally, that other people may know about you. They may know that you're brave, that you're wild, that you're courageous, that you express and take up space. Or this could be something that you've really had to work on yourself with because you've learned not to take up too much space. You've learned to try to suppress a little bit. You've learned to try to keep yourself more in your own space, in your own business. But being your full expression of self is what you're meant to do. You're meant to ignite and light others, to spark that flame. If your birthday is August 23rd to September 22nd, you are a Virgo. The Virgo is represented by the digestive system, the intestines, and the spleen. So a lot of that the processing organs, right? Naturally, a lot of what Virgo works on is processing, refining, discernment. The Virgo knows how to do things, and they're so particular about how they do things because they want to refine their movement. They want to get better and better and better at the things that they know. So Virgo, this could be something natural to them where they naturally grow at anything that they do, where they naturally get good at anything that they try, or this could be something that they really have to work on throughout their lives, is continuing to hone their skills, because this isn't Gemini energy where there's lots of different skills and a lot going on that can be held. With a Virgo energy, maybe they only have three main skill sets that you work with, and it's your job to continue honing them, mastering them, learning more about them, growing them. It's your job not to bring on more and more and more and more, but to really work with what you've got and to make them big. You are processing constantly. If your birthday is September 23rd to October 22nd, you are a Libra, the heartbreaker of the zodiac, because everyone loves you and you don't love anyone back. I'm kidding. The Libra is represented by the kidneys, the back, the full back, or the lower back, because the Leo is upper back. So the kidneys, lower back, and the skin. The skin is an organ, and it is your first layer of defense, not your white blood cells. Your skin is your first layer of defense. It keeps everything out as a big old boundary. That should tell you everything you need to know about a Libra. I'm kidding again. Okay, so Libra, you've been working a lot in your life with balance, harmony, and relationships. Balance, harmony, and relationships because of these particular body parts. The Libra is represented by those scales. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything right. There's that right because there's a right point between this side, and you want to be right in the middle of that. Yet what you're really trying to understand is relationship. Notice I didn't say relationships, I said relationship. Your relationship with any particular thing is a matter of being connected, not just give and take and balance, but about connection. Because with connection, everything continues to flow both ways. So I dare say that while balance and harmony and relationship is the thing that you work on throughout your life, what you're really striving for is probably connection. Virgo, just backstepping for a second because this popped into my head, discernment. You can be really gullible, okay? Someone needs to hear this because I had to backpedal in order to say it. You're really gullible, honey, okay? You need to use your discernment skills. This is part of using your spleen. It's so funny. I watched a dating show, sidestep. I watched a dating show one time, and you know how people always say, like, trust your gut? This guy kept saying, trust your spleen. And I was like, what the crap is he saying? But I get it when it comes to Virgo, because Virgos, there's something about discernment that is your life path, honey. It just is, okay? So you might find yourself being easily duped by things, easily emotionally manipulated, or maybe you really know deep down what the right answer is, but you don't like confrontation. You are really more about staying to yourself, refining what you've already got, and it takes you a long time to process things. We already talked about processing. And so if you get hit with a lot of energy at one time, it takes you a long time to process it out. And so sometimes that might lead you to just kind of back off from confronting things. But discernment is going to be your superpower. Just like with Libra, your superpower is going to be connection. Okay? If you were born between October 23rd and November 21st, you are a Scorpio, my dear darling. You are represented by the reproductive organs. Yes, you get to be the vagina and the penis and the gonads. You're represented by the pelvis and the elimination system. Yes, you're also the urethra. Okay, so with those organs being what represents you and your identity and your personality and how your soul animates and expresses itself, your life path has to do with transformation, intimacy, and power. Transformation, because you have to let go in order to receive. Transformation, because something that was once food is now to be eliminated. It's now waste. Transformation is a beautiful space to be in. We have to continue to transform throughout our lives, and you're going to be 1,000 different people by the time you die. You will have transformed 1,000,000 times, my darling Scorpio. Intimacy, as a Scorpio, your life path, something here about intimacy, okay? So, you might be very open to people in relationships, and then find yourself getting hurt. Or you might be the opposite of that, where you close yourself off to keep yourself from getting hurt. But learning how to be vulnerable and intimate, even outside of sexual relationships, just being intimate with friends, intimate with family members. Intimacy does not mean sexual. Intimate simply means being open and real enough. This is also why Scorpio can tell when someone's being fake, when someone's being inauthentic, because your life path is all about intimacy, and you know when they're giving that to you and when they're not. Power. Those sexual organs represent power. how much power you have, how much power you give to others, how much power you try to take from others. Power is something that you have to learn how to use as your life force, creative energy, not as something to dominate or to allow others to dominate you. So learning about power, what the crown is, who's wearing it, it's just all about life force and manifestation rather than being in charge. Okay? Boop. If you were born between November 22nd and December 21st, you are a good old Sag, a Sagittarius, and you are represented by the hips, the thighs, and the liver. Okay? This particular zodiac works throughout their life on expansion and belief. I love the saying that the Sagittarius, you will always be able to pick a Sagittarius out of a crowd because they're the ones who are over in the corner having an argument with God. They are always in an argument with God, okay? The Sagittarius expands deeply into their beliefs. They like the macabre. They like to understand all of the little unseen forces out there. They like to work with angels or the opposite of angels. It's just understanding their beliefs, their internal world, the metaphysical world, and it's expanding beyond just the physical. And if you get a Sag who's really into the physical, I bet they love to travel because they want to expand beyond just their body, beyond just their home, beyond just their community. They want to really get out there. So now that we've located your sun sign through the dates, the body part that represents you, and how that body part kind of shows us a little bit about your life path and your life lessons and how you move through life and the things that you're experiencing, I want us to deepen that if you want to. Remember, I gave you the option to deepen through your moon sign. Remember I said that your sun sign is your soul animation. It's your central life force expressing itself. Your moon sign is your internal environment. It's your personal emotion. And if you have your moon sign, you can go back through this list again and find that moon sign. For me personally, my sun sign is Leo, which means I am represented by the heart space. I am a healer, and it means that I work on self-expression, courage, and vitality. But it's a sun sign, meaning it's already seen, meaning this is something that I might already know about myself or other people might already see and admire about me. If I were to deepen that with my moon sign is Capricorn. That means that I also have an emotional representation within my bones, within my knees, within my joints, within my teeth. So this is another thing that stands out about me that you might not pick up right away on the surface. This means that I work really hard emotionally to create structure and discipline. And that's something that maybe I haven't had in the past that I've been working really hard on. And if you watch all my videos, you hear me say, I am not consistent. I will express myself all day, but I am not consistent. I have to work really hard to keep my plants alive. I have to work really hard to put out weekly videos because I don't like consistency. It makes me want to shake. So this is something I have to work on. Noticing your moon sign might show you the thing that you have to work on beneath the surface, or the thing that might make you feel more safe emotionally. Guess what, guys? I married a freaking Taurus, right? The Taurus, the slow moving, the one that's all about the stability and the voice, the stability and consistency. I married that, and it drives me nuts. But it's because emotionally that makes me feel safe. And that's something unknown to me a lot of the time, that I'm drawn towards consistent people because I'm so inconsistent. So your moon sign is going to show you a lot about your internal environment, your emotional needs and how they can be met, and the things that you personally need to work on. Now, if you're that overachiever who really wants to deepen this with your rising sign is your spiritual self, your point of entry. It's who you were at your birth, right? So then look up that sign. And the reason I told you don't necessarily need this is because when you fully embody the things that your sun sign is working on and the things that your moon sign is working on, you're naturally going to reach the point of what your rising sign represents, because now you're a full person. You have your outward expression and personality, your inward environment and emotions, and your spiritual self, the Trinity within you. So let's just test this for a second. My spiritual self, my rising sign is Cancer. And Cancer is the womb, the nurturing, the emotion, and the protection. So when I have the stability and consistency and the self-expression and heart, what I get is a womb space, a protected, nurturing space. And that is me fully embodied. This is how I was born before I broke those apart, because we're always born feeling our rising sign fully. And then when you reach a certain age, you start to lean more into your sun sign because you're developing. You're learning more about your identity and personality. That's just normal psychology. And then later you start figuring out your internal environment and your emotions, and then you come back to your star sign, fully embodying all of it. I'd love to hear what your top 3 are, or at least your sun sign, and the things that you've been working on. Let me know in the comments.